Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the latest in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial as it wraps up its third week of testimony. And the Biden administration is expected to announce more aid for Ukraine. We'll tell you how much.
Plus, below average weather will continue to start the weekend. Those details on the way as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Former President Donald Trump's so-called hush money trial wrapped up its third week of testimony today as court watchers look ahead to Monday. CBS News confirms that's when prosecutors plan to call their key witness, Trump's former personal attorney Michael Cohen, to the stand. CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports from New York.
Former President Donald Trump left the New York courtroom Friday where testimony in his criminal case wrapped up for the week.
It's not a case, there's no crime.
Inside, prosecutors seem to be building up to their key witness, Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, who is expected to testify Monday.
I think that Michael Cohen's testimony will be fire and brimstone. It will be something to behold both during direct and cross-examination.
A paralegal for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office introduced a set of exhibits Friday depicting allegedly falsified records connected to Trump's payments to Cohen. Prosecutors say the money was to reimburse Cohen for the $130,000 he paid adult film star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election to buy her silence about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump. The presumptive Republican presidential nominee denies any wrongdoing.
He was a lawyer, not a fixer, he was a lawyer. Legal expense to a lawyer, they called it legal expense. They said it was marked incorrectly. What else would you call it?
Prosecutors said Friday that it's possible they will rest their case by the end of next week. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
As proceedings came to a close today, the judge instructed prosecutors to tell Cohen to stop making public statements about the case or Mr. Trump, but stopped short of issuing a gag order. Trump, who is under a gag order and has received numerous fines and could face jail time if he continues to violate the gag order, called the judge's decision a joke and a disgrace. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon appears to be moving closer to serving a 4-month prison sentence. A federal appeals court has upheld his contempt of Congress conviction. Bannon was found guilty after failing to comply with a subpoena in the House investigation into the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol attack. The U.S. D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously rejected several challenges Bannon made to the case. The FBI is watching to see if U.S. support for Ukraine will lead the Russian government to take more risks in potentially interfering in the presidential election. Yesterday, a senior FBI official said they are concerned the war in Ukraine might be an, quote, animating event for the Russians. Officials are concerned Russia could be motivated to aggressively meddle in the election since aid to Ukraine could be determined by who's in the White House.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. We are tracking some cooler and more gloomy weather on this Friday up on First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. Tracking a few light showers as well over parts of southeast Kentucky, pushing into southwest Virginia from Harlan County, moving into parts of Lee, also Wise counties over in southwest Virginia. And a few more light sprinkles close to Louisa and Lawrence County, pushing into parts of Wayne County, West Virginia, also into Elliott County at this hour. Now, it's not going to rain everywhere this evening, but a few more spotty sprinkles cannot be ruled out. As we stay mainly cloudy, a live look from the WYMT studios. A few peaks of sunshine this evening. That current temperature up to 63 degrees. We should be in the 70s. We are all well below average today. Check out Wise, Virginia, down to 48 on this Friday, up to 59 for Harlan, 64 in Jackson, 66 over in Irvin at this hour. A small chance of a stray shower, maybe a few sprinkles this evening, but most of us do stay dry. Also cooler and more clear to go into tonight. Those lows back in the middle 40s to wake up and kick off this weekend, and some more below average weather on the way tomorrow, but that sunshine is on the way for Mother's Day on Sunday. Those details coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. Parts of Kentucky are still seeing the aftermath of this week's intense storms, including Simpson County. The Jim Roberts Community Park in Franklin saw heavy flooding as Drakes Creek overflowed into the surrounding areas. Park Director Lisa Devers says people are still trying to visit the park, with some even trying to wade in the floodwaters. She warns that doing so is much more dangerous than it may seem.
We do encourage you not to do that. One, you don't know the debris that is underneath or what may be on the ground underneath, but also we have had the electric plant board come out and turn off the electric in those areas because there were electric panels in some of those areas.
Devers says the flooding in the area looks just a few feet shy of the last major flood there from 2010. Today, Governor Beshear and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced federal approval of the Brent Spence Bridge project. The Federal Highway Administration approved the project's environmental assessment, allowing design and construction efforts to move forward without tolls. Governor DeWine says the project will address, quote, one of the worst truck bottlenecks in the nation. An Arizona woman who was charged with poisoning her husband's coffee is getting out of jail. Melody Johnson agreed to a plea deal for the crime after her husband caught her on video putting bleach in his coffee. As part of that deal, attempted murder charges were downgraded to 2 counts of adding a harmful substance to food and drink. Those charges could have resulted in 2 years in prison for each count, but a judge ordered 3 years of probation. 2 former associates of Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar have agreed to plead to a plea deal related to his bribery case. Cuellar's former campaign manager and another political operative are cooperating with the Justice Department's prosecution of the Democrat. According to court documents unsealed Wednesday, Mina Cohen Strother and political consultant Florencio Lencho Rendon have agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering. The Biden administration is expected to announce more aid for Ukraine. According to a U.S. official, a $400 million package could come under the Presidential Drawdown Authority before the weekend. Among the items expected to be included, Patriot missile system munitions, Stinger anti-air missiles, and other equipment. This announcement would be the second PDA from the United States. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is pushing back against a lawsuit filed by TikTok in response to a new law that could ban the popular app in the U.S. Tuesday, TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance filed a petition claiming the law is unconstitutional. They argue the law, signed in April, blocks free speech and prevents people from accessing information. The new law says unless ByteDance sells to a non-Chinese entity by January, the app will be kicked off various app stores.
Their lawsuit's a joke. I mean, I'm not surprised that they're doing it, and I thought they made a telling admission. The TikTok CEO said that China would never, ever accept selling TikTok. Now, you got to ask yourself, why would that be? And the answer is, much more important to China than the money is the access to Americans' personal information. It just confirms that TikTok is a spy app. That's what it is. That's why Beijing wants it. They could make billions of dollars by selling it.
TikTok CEO says the company won't sell and plans to fight the ban. 99-year-old Jimmy Carter is still exercising his right to vote. Carter's grandson, Jason Carter, says the former president cast a mail-in ballot this week for the Georgia primary, emphasizing that his grandfather is not going to miss an election. Jimmy Carter has been in hospice care in his hometown of Plains, Georgia for the past year. During that time, he celebrated his 99th birthday in October and attended the annual Peanut Festival. His wife, Rosalind, also died in November. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, in today's Does It Work, we find out if the better sponge lives up to the hype.
And the sunny weather is not far away. Your Mother's Day weekend forecast after this break.